Committee on Regulations will now come to order. Madam Clerk, will you please call the roll?
Councilor Liberty LeBeau?
Here.
Councilor Pelletier?
Yeah.
Chairman Kadim?
Here. Pursuant to the open meeting law, any person may make an audio or video recording of this public meeting or may transmit the meeting through any medium. Attendees are therefore advised that such recordings or transmissions are being made whether perceived or unperceived by those present and are deemed acknowledgeable and permissible. Item 1 on the agenda is citizen input. Is there anybody wishing to speak? Seeing none. Item number 2 is minutes for the April 3rd, 2019 meeting.
Motion to accept.
Motion to accept made by Council Pelletier. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Council LeBeau. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So voted. Motion carries. Item number 3 was an order for the secondhand article store application for Joseph McFadden, 87 Rockland Street, Fall River, Mass., doing business as Our Place Shop located at 156 Tripp Street. Used video games, toys, clothes to be sold, was referred on May 14th, 2019. I'll ask the parties to come down and, committees will, do we want to have building inspector and, so if we could have the building commissioner and health inspector as well? And also police department, but that was obvious. Just for you.
We're gonna need everybody's name on the wall.
Yeah. So could I just ask, we had citizen input, so who's Joseph McFadden? That's you, so if we can just have Joseph McFadden down and then everybody else. I'll reopen citizen input if we need to, but just for the purposes, we're just doing license hearing right now, so. So just Joseph McFadden, you folks can stay down, obviously. Board of Health. Yeah, sir.
He's the original.
He's the original owner? Okay. All right. So if we can have your names and addresses for the record.
Hello. Robert W. Janelle, 281 London Street, Fall River, Mass.
Joseph McFadden, 87 Rockland Street.
Yep.
I'm Jackie Brown, and I live in 128 Beardswood Road, Tiverton. I'm a vendor there.
You're a vendor. Okay. Motion to waive the rules?
Motion made.
Motion was made by Council Pelletier. Second?
Second.
Second by Council LeBeau. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So voted. Motion carries. Okay, who wants to turn it over to the police department? Is that what you're looking for? Council Pelletier?
Detective Cadero for Police Department.
Tess Curran, Director of the Health and Human Services Department.
Glenn Hathaway, Building Commissioner, City of Fall River.
Does anybody turn it over to you folks or Council LeBeau? Sorry.
So this came to our attention actually before the license renewal did, or it's actually switching from
What's that?
this shop came to our attention on the council by a letter that was sent to us. So my question first and foremost is, do you know the letter that I'm referring to?
The application was sent to us, and it was denied by the police department. We did a background check, and the driver's license of Mr. McFadden is non-renewable for reasons of either parking tickets, excise tax, and due to the fact that he owes the city or the state money, the police department will not approve that license.
So you're Mr. McFadden? Do you know about these things that you owe? Do we have a list or?
I ran the license just 5 o'clock again today to see if there was any change, and as of 5 o'clock today, it's still non-renewable, and it's money owed either to the city or the registry.
Okay. Do you currently have a
I got my license.
driver's license?
Yeah.
It's an active license, but
Oh,
it's
it's
non-renewable.
non-renewable, okay.
Non-renewable.
All right. That's fine. Council, you still have the floor.
Okay. Is there also a investigation going on at this building that you know of?
Not that I have.
I yield.
So the letter you're referring to is not in committee, so we're just going to speak specifically to the license itself. I know the police department obviously denied. We just heard why the police department denied. I know there was some concerns or questions about the location with regards to health codes and building codes. I don't know if you folks want to speak to that, but I don't know that necessarily carries over to a license. I think in order for them to actually, once the license is granted, folks would have to go out there and improve their codes, right? Make sure that they're up to code on everything. It's okay. Have you gone out there at all? Yeah, if you could.
I have not visited the site since the original close down due to the police investigation. I went back one more time after that because at that original time, they refused me entry to the second floor where the security guard is supposedly staying. So I went back, I don't know, 2 weeks ago on a complaint that they were open during the weekday, when in fact they should have been closed due to no license. So upon my arrival there, I asked several people if they were open or closed, and they all said that they were closed. There was a guy playing with tires, cleaning up his area. So I asked for permission to go to the second floor. Bob gave me permission to go to the second. I went up there and I reviewed the area. The area was what I consider an extreme fire hazard and clutter. It was impossible to get more than one person in this area up there due to the clutter and junk. So I forewarned them that if upon the city granting a license, I'm coming back and upstairs needs to be cleaned and fully open. No debris around, no trash, no nothing. And that's based on whether the city, the council, approves another license.
Okay. Do we know if there was a certificate of good standing that was issued by the city? Yeah, with the application, do we request it, just to make sure all the taxes are paid?
Those are always checked.
Those are always checked, okay. Counselor?
Is that, the second floor, is that an apartment that's, is it an apartment?
You want to just grab the mic?
In answer to your question, no, it's not an apartment.
So what,
Well, there's been rumors that they were sleeping there. There was rumors that there was, and I'm calling rumors because I could never find the truth. So there is cameras up there. Somebody sits up there. Supposedly they stayed up there at night, slept there to be a security guard for the facilities. There is cameras. Currently, the day I inspected the area, it was impossible for anybody to sleep there unless they were standing up. And at that time, he told me that he wasn't staying there any longer, or he was going to be moving on. That's the guy that was staying there supposedly at night, but he hasn't been staying there, to my knowledge.
don't they need an occupancy permit to be there?
It's not an area that we would consider habitable, as far as apartment or anything to that nature. There is a bathroom up there. There was so much clutter, Counselor, that you couldn't call this an apartment, okay? And I'll see that when I go back again, if I go back again. If it is an apartment, it will be closed because it's not a habitable area. It's not a place for a residence. There's only one means in and one means out. But the clutter, it was floor to ceiling, so you couldn't walk in there.
So can I make this recommendation to the committee, and we can vote on it if you so choose? I just make a recommendation that we table this and allow the both building, Board of Health to go out and do a complete inspection of the building. Also that we make sure that we have a certificate of good standing. We do, okay. And that prior to us even entertaining this again, that all the fees and fines are paid through the Registry of Motor Vehicles to make sure that there's nothing outstanding from that standpoint, and then we'll kick it back to the police department for their recommendation.
Mayor,
Yes.
is there an ongoing investigation of what happened up there couple of months ago, I guess?
I do not know of the
You
investigation.
didn't hear anything? Well,
I just think if there is an ongoing investigation, you can't speak to it anyways, right, if it's ongoing, so.
Correct.
yeah, but they say there is, but it's not. Well, that's what we gotta find out. I guess we'll leave that job up to you. If there's a problem there, we gotta know about it. Put that idea.
Did you have
Councilor
something you wanted to say?
Yes, I'd just like to know what, when Mr. Bassett, Paul Bassett, when he had his complaints about his daughter and everything, number one, I don't know why it was broadcast over the whole city. I have.
Yeah, so we're not gonna speak to that, that's not in this committee. The only thing we're talking about is the actual license.
The
I think-
reason against is
Sorry,
because
just
of
if
that
you-
accusation.
I understand, but the letter itself is in, I believe, public safety, so I don't want to speak to it in regulations. This is
Right.
really about a license being issued. From my standpoint, I think we need to, number one, talk about obviously, the certificate of good standing is good, meaning that you don't owe any money to the city. But there are questions about code violations from building and health that we need to address, and then also the police department matter, which seems to be fees or fines due to the state through the registry of motor vehicles, so.
I just paid all that. Just don't mind license renewed.
That's fine, so if you can go back to the registry but he's able to go onto a system which is up to the
I
minute.
ran that siege at
Right.
5 o'clock today.
Right. And that goes through the Federal Bureau of Investigation. Yep, so, Councilor
I'm gonna answer that question for you. The reason that it was in front of the council was because it was a public letter that was sent, so it was on the record. That's not why we're here, though. We're here today for the granting of the license. So that's why we're not speaking about it. If there's an investigation, that's separate. But the police have denied it for this purpose of this meeting.
Right.
Because of the non-renewable license with the fines owed to either the city or the registry. The clerk is saying that we do have a certificate of in good standing.
Or, yes, for the business, but the reason that he was denied by the police was a different issue.
So if we get that straightened out, that would
I
be,
don't even know what it is.
so I would suggest that you go to the registry and ask them why your license is tagged as active but non-renewable, because that's why the police station is denied it.
I know I had 2 parking tickets that I paid before I did this.
So the registry will be able to answer all of your questions, because that's who has it flagged, and the police department won't be able to approve it until that's taken care of. And he checked at 5 o'clock tonight, so that's up to the minute.
Is it possible that I could get it back in my name? This is all new to me.
Yeah, I don't, that's a question.
so he would have to pull his application, you'd have to reapply, and then that come before us, and then you'd have to go through the application process all over again.
Reapply the same way, not just renew it.
Correct. Because it expired, so it's not renewable, you've got to actually apply for the license.
And the fact that it was Form 2 for 2 takeover, right, which he paid the fees, I believe. He paid the fees for the new license. So that's the main reason why I wasn't going to put in my say. I just assumed he was going to go through with it. I'm not aware of none of this.
All I would suggest is that you would still have at least one of the 2 issues outstanding, which is the building and health code violation concerns that we have. So you'd still have to address that before, you can still submit an application, but most likely be right back in this committee if you haven't addressed those issues, so.
And the man that he spoke to that was there, that was living there, he was, again, homeless, all that. He done the fire watch in the mills 10 years, 12 years ago, and continued to do through the different owners. Crown Linen was there, and they took over from the ownership, wouldn't want to pay security again. So Crown Linen paid me, right, to me and him to do the watch from 9 to 5 in the morning. So
I would
that-
just caution you on this, as the building inspector had just stated, it's not occupied, there's no occupancy
Right.
permit that was, certificate that's been issued, so nobody can live on that facility. Fire watch or not, just because you're doing a fire watch just means that you need to be there, not live there. It's not, there's
Okay.
no certificate
And
of
again,
occupancy.
I mean, he's not my brother or nothing, right? But in the process of doing the mill, approximately 8 years ago, he got hit over the head about 2 o'clock in the morning, and he's in the hospital for close to 2 weeks. Still suffers from dripping in his brain or whatever it is, makes him that. That's one of the reasons why I felt bad for him. He wanted to really sue, right, sue the city, feeling, or not the city so much. He wanted to sue the
I
people
can,
that were
I can
paying us.
appreciate that. That's, again, that's not why we're here. We're here for the license. So the license that's before us is for Mr. McFadden. Is there a motion to table this and allow the, both building and health department to go out there and do an inspection on the property? Obviously with,
Second.
a motion was made by Council Pelletier, seconded by Council LeBeau. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So voted. Motion carries. No other items before us. Motion to adjourn.
Motion adjourned.
Motion to adjourn was made by Council Pelletier, seconded by Council LeBeau. All those in favor? Opposed? So voted. Motion carries.
Okay, so
Thank
when,
So
where do
you
I
can,
stand?
you can either
Oh, yeah.
reapply,
Yeah,
or you can straighten out whatever it is at the registry.
yeah.
You have to
So
go to the registry or go online,
You just go to registry and ask them why they flagged your license.
right down on North Main Street.
She-
When was
she's
that
not the
done?
registry. Talk to the registry.
Yeah, I don't
They
know.
got it on the record, the registry.